Well, hello again, everybody. This is Tuariki Delamere, Principal Consultant for TJED Immigration and former Minister of Immigration. This week, the Prime Minister has stated that she wants Immigration New Zealand to go back to the status quo regarding partnership visas, and that it is Immigration New Zealand who are to blame for the change in partnership visa rules. She has ordered that those changes be reversed. And this is what is frustrating. While I applaud the intentions of the Prime Minister, the reality is that her comments confirm that she is uninformed. There have been no rule changes. As the Prime Minister said, only Cabinet, only the government can change the rules. What has happened is that elements within Immigration New Zealand have been given, the government have been giving the Minister of Immigration the internationally recognized symbol of up yours. Minister, we, the civil servants of New Zealand, running Immigration New Zealand, we will ignore the law, we will ignore the official policy, and Minister, you need to put a stop to it. They've been getting away with this for far too long. Contrary to what has been reported by the media, contrary to the claims and statements made by the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, and Minister Shane Jones, the 12-month living together requirement is only a requirement for those partners applying for a residence visa. There is no requirement, and there has never been a requirement for temporary visa partnership applicants to have lived together with their sponsoring partner for 12 months. That has simply been an unlawful invention of a policy by the executive management of Immigration New Zealand. And what I would say to our Minister of Immigration, Ian Lees-Galloway, Ian, it is time you took back control of New Zealand's immigration system. Because right now, Ian, the whole country thinks you are nothing but a puppet of those civil servants who think that it is they and not the government that should decide. So let's go back. For a temporary visa, a partnership meets the minimum requirements for recognition if the couple are 18 years or older and have met prior to the application being made. And the partnership is genuine because it has been entered into with the intention of being maintained on a long-term and exclusive basis, and because it is likely to endure. There is no requirement for 12 months. When a New Zealand citizen or a resident marries a foreign partner, the intent of the policy is, and has always been, at least since I was Minister of Immigration, that the partner will be granted a temporary visa so that they have the opportunity to meet the 12-month living together requirement for residents. Now, while I'm criticizing Immigration New Zealand, to be fair to them, to be fair to Immigration New Zealand, they are somewhat caught between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, Immigration New Zealand have to operate in an environment these days where both Labour and New Zealand First are trumpeting their determination to drastically reduce immigration levels. And that is why we've seen Winston Peters falsely claiming credit for all the partnership declines. Contrary to what Winston says, as confirmed by the Prime Minister, there has been no decision by the government, by the Cabinet, to impose these restrictions on partnership visa applications. That claim by Winston is just not true. But on the other hand, there is the reality that Immigration New Zealand has to deal with, and that reality is that there is an incredibly high percentage of non-genuine partnerships, and most of those involve, and I hate to say it, it involves an Indian partner. And this is why Shane Jones gets away with the anti-immigrant, anti-Indian sentiments he has been making. Shane is playing to what many perceive to be the bigoted and racist voting base of New Zealand First, and he and Winston will probably keep that up until the next election, which is in sometime in the next 12 months. For example, in today's media there is a story about an Indian male who married his sister, and he's now fighting to stay in New Zealand. And unfortunately, this is not an unusual case. I have seen quite a number of them over the last 20 years. And this happens, as it is in this case, so that the male can get residence, and when that happens, he immediately divorces his wife, in this case his sister, and then 5 years later applies to sponsor his real wife. And now I go back to the complaints and claims by the Indian community that the policy is racist and discriminatory against Indians, and especially arranged Indian marriages. I can tell you now, the policy is not racist. The policy is not discriminatory against Indians or arranged marriages. What is discriminatory and what is racist, I believe, has been the illegal invention by Immigration New Zealand of a policy that requires temporary partnership visa holders to have lived together for 12 months. Because there is no policy that requires that. Never has been.